Hey guys, so it's been a while since I've posted a video. I've just been extremely busy, but I did make time to grind over the last 2 weeks. And if you've been following my community posts on my channel, you'll know that on Monday evening I actually managed to reach Paragon 400, which was actually the quickest time I've done a Paragon grind since I've started playing this game. So in this video I actually wanted to share my strategies which I've used. Most of it is actually pretty old strategies, but there are quite a few new strategies which are very strong and allow you to grind levels extremely fast. So I'm going to be sharing them in this video. So first of all, let's just start with a recap on the strategies that I like to use, which I've showcased on my channel before. So the first part is preparation. So this usually starts when the Paragon level is 30 levels below your goal. So if we check now, we can see that the Paragon level is 380. So this is actually 20 levels under the goal, which I wanted to reach, which is 400. But when the Paragon level is actually 370, which is 30 levels under, you can start preparing. So the two parts of preparation is, first of all, to grind as much as possible in the week before. And the second part to the preparation, which is probably even more important than grinding, is to start preparing your battle pass. So you want to be saving the battle pass as much as possible. So in this case, we were able to save 2 weeks of battle pass. And you also want to be saving your mails, which includes mails from Shadow Wars, Assembly, like I have here, Vigil of Blades, also the Tower, Accursed Tower XP, which I've shown how you can save it. And there's also a few other mails such as the prediction mails, which also give a little bit of XP. But basically any mail which gives you XP, you kind of want to be holding on to that as much as you can. And also, as well as this, I haven't got any fish in my inventory right now, but basically you can also save up your mythic fish, your legendary fish, so you can keep fishing and just throwing away all of the rare fish that you fish up until you have 20 mythic fish, and that'll give you the most amount of XP. So that's the preparation phase done. So now on to the next part, which is when the server Paragon level is 20 levels under your goal. So anytime after Monday 3 AM, you can actually claim your battle pass and your fish and your mails which you've saved up over the last couple of months, and this will give you a huge burst in XP. So you can see that's what I'm doing here right now. So next you want to be using my Paragon calculator, which I've covered in a previous video, but basically this will tell you the level you need to grind up to before pulling the trigger on your first clear raids or your first clear gauntlet, and those basically give you 2 million XP each, which isn't affected by your XP penalty. So you just want to be basically grinding the easier levels, and then once you reach the kind of 5% or 1% XP, that's when you want to be using your raids and your gauntlets. And it should be the raids first, followed by the gauntlet last, because the gauntlet gives you triple stat items, which if you time it correctly, you can actually reach 400 while inside the gauntlet, and this will directly give you Inferno 2 items, which will be very useful for you once you reach 400. So for this push, I actually opted not to use any of my gauntlets and just only use raids because I just wanted a bit more of a challenge. So this is how the numbers look in my Paragon calculator. So I've just put 5 raids and 0 gauntlets, and it tells me that the level I need to grind up to is 397 and 500k XP, which is what I did. So now that we've done a quick recap of all of these strategies which I like to use, let's go over some of the differences. So the first difference was made to the Shadow Assembly. So now Shadow Assembly is actually able to be saved over multiple cycles. So even when the Immortals are overthrown, you can still collect the rewards of the last cycle if you've saved them in the mail, but the marks will not count towards the new cycle if you're Shadows. So basically, if you go to the Shadow Assembly mail here, you can see that you've got the XP, keys, and also the marks. So let's say the Immortals are overthrown and I've still got this mail here. Well, these marks won't count towards the new Shadow cycle, but the keys and the XP and the gold you will still get. So that's what I've done, because basically, in my opinion, once you reach the maximum rank, which is Whisper 4, it's not really worth claiming any more of these mails unless your clan has some kind of rule where you want to be in the top 3 at all times. If they don't really have this rule and you've checked with your officers and your clan leader, then you should be saving these after you've reached the max shadow rank, which is what I normally like to do. So now I'm going to talk about the second difference in strategy, which is actually the most important part of this video, which a lot of people have been asking me about and also asking me to rush this video because they really want to know how I grinded so fast. Because normally in open world grinding, it shouldn't be able to grind this fast. I've kind of had a breakthrough in farming, and I actually didn't do any open world farming whatsoever over the last 2 weeks to grind for this push, and I mainly focused on a different mode, which I think a lot of you will be surprised to hear about, and that mode is basically Castle Ereban. Now, both Castle Ereban and the Abyssal Verge are kind of the two new modes which are added to the game, which kind of promise to be the best new ways to farm runes. But actually, what it turned out to be is that Ereban is actually the best way to farm XP currently in the game, and it's not even close. From my extensive testing, my estimates show that Castle Ereban actually gives 60% more XP compared to traditional open world farming, and this is actually huge because for a 5% level, traditionally it would take about 11 hours of farming if you had the Accursed Tower, which gives increased monster essence. But inside Castle Ereban, this would actually only take about 5 hours, which is just an insane time save. And if you really want to be one of the first players on your server to reach 400 or any new Paragon goal, then I would really urge you to be farming mostly in Castle Ereban, because there's just no mode currently in the game which gives better XP. Because I don't want this video to become too long, I'm actually going to make another video where I go through all of my testing and all my numbers which I did over the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys exactly how everything works. For now, I'll just go over a run to show you guys exactly how I like to run Castle Ereban and show you guys how you can get the most XP out of it. So the first question that I've been asked pretty frequently is if you should be running Ereban in solo or in a group. Well, the answer to that is mostly in solo or 2-man, and for my push I actually ran 90% of the time in 2-man and about 10% of the time in solo. And I've tried running in 3 and 4-man groups, and it's actually still really good because it gives a lot more XP than open world, but from my extensive testing, solo or 2-man works the best. So how Ereban works in terms of the scaling and the number of players is that the more players you have, the more monsters are actually going to spawn, which is really good because monsters give you more XP, but also the monsters become harder to kill. So if you're playing solo, you'll notice that there's fewer monsters than what's seen on my screen right now, but they're also a lot easier to kill. So it's kind of a balance. If you have too many people, then it becomes a lot harder to kill all of these mobs. So the other thing is that if you have too many people, you'll find that you'll run over each other quite a lot of the time, and you won't have that many chests to open for yourself, which is kind of annoying because chests do give a lot of the XP in this mode. So the different sources of XP are obviously killing the mobs, that gives the most bulk of XP, but also opening chests gives a lot of XP, and it also works in tandem with the mobs, because the more chests you open, the higher your danger level gets, and the more mobs actually spawn. So these two things kind of work together. I think this is what makes it so much better to farm than open world, is because as well as the mobs, you also have this chest XP, and opening the chests actually gives you about the same XP as killing 7 mobs. So it's actually a really nice bump in XP just from opening these chests. The problem is that even though progression is shared in the party, so if one of your party members opens chests, you're going to notice that the danger level does increase for the both of you. The problem is that XP is not shared, so you're only getting XP for the chests that you open. So the more chests that you can open, the better it is for you. So with 2-man, I find that this works really well because you can just split the map in two. You kind of notice that I've taken the right side here, and my friend Vimli has taken the left side, and he's opening the chest on the left side. So in this way, we're kind of both splitting the amount of chests we can get, while also not kind of sacrificing the amount of time it takes to level up our danger level. So speaking of the danger level, you want to be getting this up to level 8 consistently, because this gives the most amount of XP. You also don't really want to be opening the big chests, which spawns in level 6. This doesn't really give any XP, even though it looks really shiny and the map kind of shines up. This really doesn't give anything. It kind of might give you one blue item or maybe even a legendary item once in a while, but it's really not worth it. And I found that just keep spamming these chests even after you reach level 8. You can see here that we're not trying to escape, we just keep opening chests. I think I ended this run with something like 80 chests, and once the timer has expired, that's when we go straight to escape. We don't even focus on opening the big chests or really anything. We're just trying to escape. We do kill some mobs along the way, but that isn't really our focus. Our focus is just trying to safely escape. So that brings me to the third source of XP after mobs and opening chests, which is the escape XP. So if you escape, you get a flat amount of XP, which is based off the level that you escape at. So if you escape at level 1, it's going to be much less XP than escaping at level 8. Level 8 gives the maximum amount of XP. So you can see here that I'm trying to escape, and if you look at my minimap, it's telling me to go down there and take a right, but I actually ended up going straight forward, and this is because my friend told me that it was a dead end. Sometimes the navigation is a bit wonky in this mode, so it really helps to be in a voice call with whoever you're running with, because this really helps in terms of kind of letting people know about the dead ends and when the navigation is wrong. There's another one where the navigation was wrong, and we both kind of had experience and know that that was a dead end, so we ended up both moving down there. But one thing which I want to tell people is that I wouldn't really be discouraged if you end up dying. So there's two outcomes: either you escape successfully or you die. And if you can escape successfully, it does give a small amount more XP than dying at the end of the run if you check your logs. But it isn't really worth it. I mean, I tried both dying and escaping over 1 hour farming, and escaping gave me about 505k XP per hour on 5%, while dying all the time gave me about 500k, so it really isn't that much difference. I wouldn't be too upset if you end up dying. So just so things don't get too confusing, I kind of want to summarize everything and give you guys the key points to take away. So the best source of XP from Ereban is actually still turning in Monster Essence. So every 3 to 4 runs, you want to be checking your notifications here and seeing if you have a book to turn in. And if you do have a book to turn in, then you can just teleport to the altar here. It is really annoying to keep teleporting back and forth. So I'd really recommend that if you're playing in a group, that you sync with your teammates and you both have to turn in the book at the same time. Otherwise, it just gets too annoying if you're too out of sync. Blizzard should really add a book turn in either at this NPC here as an option, or just add maybe a altar here or somewhere in this map, because it's super annoying just to go back and forth if you're farming one of these two modes over long periods of time. So that's the best source of XP, and that gives roughly 10k on a 5% XP penalty. The next best source is killing mobs. So killing mobs gives about 27 XP for a single mob, or 81 XP for a shielded mob on 5%. And getting kill streaks for these mobs is actually pretty good as well and gives a lot of good XP. And the third best source of XP in Ereban is opening chests. And this is your chest counter which you've opened, which isn't affected by other people in your party. And this works kind of hand in hand with killing the mobs, because the more chests you open, the more of a danger level you're going to have and the more mobs which are going to spawn. So chests actually give 162 XP on 5% penalty, which is a huge burst of XP and not to be overlooked. And it's actually very important to keep opening these chests. So now let's move on to talk about the not so important sources of XP. It's actually the death/escape XP. This isn't actually that important, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. Like I said, I would actually go as far to say as you guys shouldn't really bother with escaping. It doesn't really give that much more of a reward. It is a nice bonus in XP and does keep the mode a bit fun, so I do like to escape, but to be honest, it doesn't really give that much in terms of extra XP per hour. Maybe it will give you slightly less blue items. I didn't really notice that much difference, to be honest, so I wouldn't worry too much about this. Now onto the XP that you shouldn't really focus on. It's the big chest. The big chest is kind of a scam, to be honest. It's complete shit, garbage, not worth your time. Don't bother with it at all, in my opinion. Just focus on escaping or dying and just move on to the next run. Now, as for the XP per hour results I had for a 5% penalty, bear in mind that this was with a 2-man farming group. I had about 500 to 505k XP per hour. This was without my clan having the Monster Essence Tower, and with the Monster Essence Tower, I was getting about 530k XP per hour following this method that I've shown you guys. So it is a huge amount more XP than open world farming. It's about 60% more XP, like I said. And it will greatly reduce the amount of time that you have to farm. So that's about all that I wanted to cover for Ereban. I'll quickly show the build that I use for Crusader. So this is just the open world build which I've showcased on my channel before. I'm not really going to spend too much time in it because I don't really want this video to turn into a Crusader video, but you can see my essences here. I'm just going to mouse over every one of them and you can see the gems that I'm using. But yeah, for a more in-depth detail, I'd recommend you guys to watch my video. You can also see the sets here: 4-piece Angman, 2-piece Vithu, and also 2-piece Barons. It works the best. So for the Paragon tree, I've had a few people ask me what's the best kind of setup for running Ereban. So this is what I like to run. I like to have the delay kill streak timer here and also get the damage from the Vanquisher tree. It doesn't seem like the Treasure Hunter works in this mode. I've tried testing with the increased XP, but unfortunately unfortunately there's no elites, and the increased gold doesn't seem to work that well. But obviously this isn't the only setup you can have. You can also run with Brawler with having the increased size here, so you could go like this and just enable all of these, and you'll get your 8% increased size, which will give you increased movement speed, and this works very well. You could also run with a Slinger setup, and I was running with this as well. This gives really good damage, so you can get more mob kills, and this works extremely well too. So it would look something like this, I guess. Just enable this one, this one, this one, and these two ranger nodes also work really well. Something like this would work fine. So my friend who plays Demon Hunter is really a big fan of the Brawler tree here, especially because it gives you the move freely through enemies. This is really useful because sometimes the enemies are annoying when you have to open the chest and they're kind of in your way. So this works really well. Just try these different setups and see which one you like the best. It doesn't seem to affect the XP per hour too greatly which Paragon tree you have. One last tip I'd like to give for this mode is actually to use a pet with the Savior skill. So you can see here I've got a pet with the Savior, and this works extremely well because this will give you kind of a cheat death. A lot of the time you might end up dying because you're not able to open doors or the boss just one-shots you. This kind of gives you a second chance to be able to escape, but like I said, it isn't that important. If you don't have it, it's fine, and if you do end up dying, it's also fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. A lot of people seem to get stressed if they die too much and they think that they're going to lose a lot of XP, but it isn't the case in this mode, so don't worry too much about it, like I said. So as soon as the weekly reset hit on Monday, I was pretty much farming exclusively in Ereban. I wasn't doing much open world. And then after I'd farmed there for a few hours and I was ready with my 397 Paragon, I went ahead and did the Inferno 1 raids, first clears. And this is just the last boss I'm running here now. I almost forgot to include this part in the video of me actually breaching the Paragon because I really wanted to focus on giving you guys the best explanation for Ereban and how to run it, and also all the strategies that I used. So I'm really hoping that it helps you guys that are grinding for Paragon 400 this week or next week. And if you do like this kind of content, then please do support me by hitting that subscribe button and liking the video. It really does help my channel out. I also do have quite a lot of content planned and in the works for the next couple of days. So be sure to turn on notifications if you don't want to miss out on my future uploads. So there we go. That's the moment where I dinged 400. I believe that this was the first on my server. Not sure how good it was in terms of the rest of the servers, but I'm really happy with this, and I really want to thank my warband as well as my good friends Eris and Finley who helped me with testing and grinding Ereban. I'm actually pretty happy that there's a new, better way to grind, which is a bit more engaging than just running mindless circles in the open world. AFK farming or leeching isn't really my cup of tea, but I know a few players do really like that kind of feature in the game, so I'm happy that both options exist. I just really hope that they don't end up nerfing this XP, but do let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So as you guys know, every time I push for Paragon, I also like to push challenge rifts and see how far I can get and try to get a first clear. I did get a bunch of first clears before on my server, so I was hoping I could also snag this one, which is the 250 first clear. Unfortunately, I just fell a bit short. I couldn't do it. It was just a bit too difficult. I got 249 in 9 minutes. And I'm pretty proud of this, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get the first clear. I was just under CR and my damage also wasn't good enough. I did try my best, but I will be showing my gear as well as the required CR for 250. So I did try all the way from Monday until yesterday, but I wasn't able to get it. And then a player called Samir managed to do it yesterday. I think he also reached Paragon 400 yesterday. I might be wrong about that, but he seems like a pretty skilled player. He did it with the Tempest class in only 6 minutes, so I think that he's also a pretty high resonance player. But I will be trying next time again, and I'm hoping that with my gauntlets saved, I'm able to have a bit more time, and I will also be trying to get better gear. So if you're wondering about my gear and combat rating, I'll be showing my combat rating here. So the maximum combat rating I have is 40,796, and this is what my gear looks like. 2026, which I believe is the maximum, and then unfortunately all of the rest of my gear is just triple stat 2006. As for my legendary gear, I've got some decent pieces here. This one is triple 2026, another one here for the chest, and then for the shoulders, this is a really good piece. It's actually triple 4. You can see it also has critical hit chance, very good piece indeed. And then 2006 triple 2, and also here triple 2, and then this one is triple. And then finally, this one is also 444, a very good piece, another one with crit chance. So I'm really happy about my offhand and also my shoulders. Unfortunately, this gear just wasn't good enough. So even though I have this combat rating and also a very decent resonance, I wouldn't say this is low resonance. I actually did get some really nice upgrades because of the recent market reductions, shall we say. But yeah, I was able to get all the way up to 40796, and the combat rating requirement for the 250 challenge rift is actually 40849. So I was about 50 combat rating short, which doesn't sound like too much, but unfortunately the monster HP is actually insane. I think the boss, I was able to get to the boss quite a few times, but I just didn't have enough time because the boss has roughly 500 million, just under 500 million health, which is actually really tough. And my secondary stats are also nowhere near good enough, so I wasn't getting the bonus that I wanted to. But with that said, I'm still pretty happy with my achievement and getting server first. The competition on my server has actually become a bit more fierce because there are quite a lot of skilled players, which we had recently with the server merge. So I'm really looking forward to trying my best and competing with them. But with that said, guys, I think I'll be signing off here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.